Today I'm going to talk about why I don't think the TWSBI Eco is actually a good beginner fountain pen. Hi, my name is Fanny and I love to talk about stationery. I have all of my notes here as well in my lovely traveler's notebook. So let's start with build quality because that is going to be a big problem for a lot of people. So either if you are new to fountain pens or you already have a few but you are thinking about getting a TWSBI Eco, what you need to know is that the TWSBI Eco is a great pen. I love it, but it's not built to last. What I mean is that if you go to any forums like Reddit or even just read reviews of this pen, you will find that people have a lot of cracking issues. There is a lot of cracking issues here on the grip, also on the body where you actually store the ink, which could be a big problem. Like if this part of the body is cracking, then you will get ink everywhere when it starts leaking, so you don't want to hear that. What normally happens with beginners is they want to close their pen and they want to close it real good so it doesn't leak. But the thing is, if you close your pen, and I'm not going to do it, if you actually force your pen to close really tight, then you will start to crack the grip of the pen and also the cap of the pen. The second thing a lot of beginners do is they want to disassemble this pen every time they are either cleaning it or they want to disassemble it the moment they purchase it, and because they are not familiar with fountain pens at that point, they crack the barrel of the pen. So long story short, the TWSBI Ecos have a long history with cracking issues, and even though I know TWSBI is working on it and they made some changes, you still have to be quite careful with this pen. And my next second point is that you shouldn't really travel with this pen. So first of all, I just wouldn't put this into a pencil case with all of my other stuff because I would be afraid that first of all, it will get cracks somehow because they are clicking and clacking next to each other and maybe something will use too much force. And also because of this brittle plastic, I would be really afraid that it will get scuffs and marks and all of those problems pretty easily, and this pen costs like $50, so it's not that cheap. I want to make it last, so I wouldn't do that. But you have to put it in some kind of holder because this knob is moving pretty easily, even if it's in your bag and something just latches onto it somehow. This will turn, and if it turns this way, you will get ink all over your bag. One plus with this pen is that the reservoir is amazing. I write a lot, so I run out of ink all of the time, but this huge reservoir, you can see how much ink it can hold. I can comfortably use it for a week and a half, even with my crazy amount of daily writing I do. But let's get into how to fill it and how to write with it. Okay, so let me show you how you actually fill up your TWSBI Eco pen. So, if we open this up, you can see this is a piston filling mechanism. It means that when you turn the end of the pen, it will either suck in air or push out air. Right now, it is sucking in air. If I turn it the other way, right now it's pushing out air from the body. This will essentially create a vacuum. So when we put this in the ink, it will suck up all the ink we need into the body to store it so we can actually write with the pen. Yeah, and that's it, basic physics. So let me show you. First of all, let me show you how to do it with a sample ink. If you are new to fountain pennings, you don't have to worry about buying a full bottle when you're starting out because this can be expensive or you don't even know what colors you like. So you can just purchase these little samples. If you are in Toronto/Canada, you can check out Wonder Pens or Paper Plus Cloth for these samples, and these are just really handy. But these are a bit harder to use with the TWSBI Eco because the TWSBI Eco sucks in the ink here through the feed, and you have to submerge the feed into the ink so it can actually suck it up to the body. So what you can do with a sample is you turn it a little bit so the ink is actually in the beginning of the tube. You put in your fountain pen and the ink has to touch the feed. Can you see it? So I have the pen feed down It's in the ink. I submerged it. And now I'm doing some gymnastics so I can actually start turning the end of the pen. As you can see, it's way harder than using normal ink with it. But eventually it should work. It didn't work the first time, so we are trying it again. We submerge the feed. Now we are sucking up ink. Can you see that? And we have the ink in the body. This sample was already half empty, so it was harder to use, but as you can see, you can still use ink samples with the TWSBI Eco. So yeah, this is how you fill your pen from a sample, but I don't want to use it, so I'm just going to put it back. Always have some paper towels or like tissues near you whenever you are refilling your pens. Actually, before I can show you how to fill it from an ink bottle, we have to clean our pen because you can see that we still have some ink in the feed and also in the body. So we have to clean our TWSBI Eco. As I mentioned with the build quality, I don't recommend actually disassembling your pen every time you are cleaning it because this pen is not made to last generations. Let's just say that. So it is a process that you can actually do after every ink. So you take your pen, you submerge it into clean water, and then you start filling up your pen with water. Here you can see we still had a lot of ink in the pen because all the water is colored. Now we are pushing it into a different cup. And then we are doing it again. Filling it up with water. You can see the water is not as dark as before. And now we are pushing it out. Filling it up with water. And pushing it out. You can see it's almost clear. Filling it up one last time. And just to get rid of the water bubbles, I'm going to do it like this, okay? And pushing it out. But now you can see we still have some water in the pan, so this is a game now to get the water in one spot and then push it out with air. And our pen is pretty clean now. Now the problem is that we still have water here in the feed, we still have some water here in the body. Honestly, with the TWSBI Eco, I normally wait like 12 hours or a whole night, and even then you can still see some little water droplets inside the pen, and that's normal, that's okay. It will not ruin your ink. You would need much more water to water down your ink actually, so it's fine. But normally we would take this pen and leave it alone for like a few hours at least, so it can dry out nicely. And here is how you actually fill it from an ink bottle. It's going to be way easier than from this sample, because you just take your pen and submerge this part of the pen. Okay, we just have to push that piston down first. So the piston is down and we are submerging the pen. Be careful to not ruin your pen by touching it to the bottom of the ink bottle. And now we are just turning our piston and we have our ink inside. I didn't really get much. Okay, let me do it again. Let's submerge it. And now we have a full fill. Perfect. When you are done, you are just giving it a wipe down. Okay, now, so this is the TWSBI Eco in the fine nib. So this is a steel nib, which means that the whole nib is made from steel. Amazing, I know. And as you can see, this is the fine nib, but still it writes pretty thick. So if you have really small handwriting, maybe I would go for the extra fine, but generally the writing experience is really smooth. It has a nice grip, it's really comfortable to write with it. You can even do reverse writing if you really want to, although I never understand why people are so pressed about it. But you can do it. So yeah, this is a smooth writing experience even for a beginner. Of course you have to learn how to actually use a fountain pen. It's a bit different from like a normal ballpoint or from like a normal gel pen, but still this is an easy pen to grab and just write something. So, would I recommend this pen? Yes. I think this is a good pen. I think this is great for its price. Would I choose this as my only pen? No, definitely not. You can't really travel with this. I wouldn't bring this on an airplane. I wouldn't even bring it to a cafe if I'm really honest with myself. Even when I was purchasing this in Wonder Pens, the guy was saying to me that he doesn't recommend it as a back pen because they hear so many horror stories from their customers that they say that their nut was turning in their bag and it was leaking all over the place, or it just cracked during traveling. So I wouldn't ever travel with this pen. But it's great for long writing sessions. If you're a journaler like me, you will really enjoy it. And honestly, if you look at the colorways and you fell in love with it, give this pen a try. But if you are new to fountain pens and want to purchase your first pen, go for something else.